These new vehicles have a lot to offer, including very sophisticated electronic components and wiring. They all come from Ford's renovated Chicago assembly plant. The plant contains the newest flexible machine tooling and lean manufacturing strategies. Chicago Assembly produces 3 new vehicles: the Ford 500, Ford Freestyle, and Mercury Montego. An innovative new supplier park was added in conjunction with the plant's renovation. The 155-acre Chicago Manufacturing Campus is located about 1/2 mile east of the plant. Residing here are approximately 9 Tier 1 and Tier 2 production suppliers, plus logistics and tooling companies. The suppliers provide 60% of the plant's inventory with just-in-time deliveries.
It's the first time in the United States that suppliers to an automotive company are located virtually 1/2 mile from the assembly plant and supplying in a very much just-in-time sequenced basis to the assembly plants to promote the flexible manufacturing at Ford assembly plant.
Ford's Rouge plant was once famous for building an entire car from scratch, tires and all. Today, Ford has suppliers who specialize in assembling complex components with the help of many sub-suppliers.
What we've done with the supplier campus, number one, we created a flow environment. Number two is we've taken traditional assemblies that we would do in-house and manage all of the logistics for those parts. And we've given them to the supplier who has, and we call them the full service supplier, who has the expertise in making that particular module. The very nature of the assembly necessitated that they be close because the logistics costs of moving them and the implications of building them in sequence required, and the implications of flowing into the plant required that they be very close. And so 12 of these suppliers needed to be very close, so we coordinated them through the supplier campus. When we started with the Taurus Sable program, we had roughly around 10 commodities that we did that with. Currently, we're at 77 different commodities that are sequenced into the plant, flow into the plant just in time, which really changes the way we manage inventory, the way we manage logistics.
The park also allows for easy cross-tier supplier relationships, though it wasn't part of the plan.
What we found is that the proximity of the suppliers to us also meant that they were close to each other and afforded an opportunity for them to start sourcing from each other. So suppliers that were Tier 1 suppliers or primary suppliers to us became primary suppliers to someone else who was a primary supplier to us, so they were also secondary suppliers or Tier 2s to us. And we found there was a lot of that happening without Ford even controlling that or managing that. For instance, we'll go to Visteon for the instrument panel, and the main wiring harness from Visteon was coming from Siemens Yazaki, who happened to be right next door, saving all the logistics costs involved with shipping a wiring harness halfway around the world or from Mexico or wherever it may be. Visteon reaped the benefits of having Siemens Yazaki sitting right next door. They were able to pull in the main wiring harness, in sequence, by the way.
What that does for Ford and for the suppliers, first for Ford is, of course, it cuts costs down. They pay for less freight. They have faster response times for issues at the plants or quality or changes in line. For the suppliers, we have more limited manufacturing, more dedicated resources, less supply chain also. We get to ship our products real close to Ford. S5 Systems is a joint venture between Siemens, VDO, which is a German-based company, and Yazaki manufacturing over in Japan. Yazaki is known for the wire harness manufacturing. Siemens is known for electronics. And what that does, the joint venture brings those both together in terms of our design team integrates both the component side, the control modules, the smart junction boxes, other parts of the vehicle with the wire harness manufacturing, and it puts an SY's duty or responsibility for the whole package more. Wire harnesses are very, very manually created. There's very little automation in wire harnesses, based because of the multi-turns, the different kind of bundling, the wiring, the taping, the complexity of the wire harness. It's hard to automate that. There's certain things they automate, like cutting, crimping the terminals on the wires, but everything else is all manual. So it's usually built in low income, low economic countries in terms of labor. Indonesia, Philippines, Nicaragua, and some still in Mexico, but Mexico is kind of rising prices for labor. With that, there's some supply chain problems with that. Our pipeline from Asia is about 8 weeks of time. I mentioned before, releases from the customer maybe 3 or 4 weeks firm out there in terms of they don't change very much. They do give us longer forecasts, but those numbers vary greatly. So with a long supply pipeline, there's unique problems in terms of what levels to build, what quantity to build, how many to build even is a problem, the question. That takes a lot more of a planning side in terms of getting parts in-house on time. Visteon supplies the front end module or the radiator area for Ford. Our harness goes in that front end module. They also supply the instrument panel or the IP for the Ford vehicle, and I have a wire harness in that. They also manufacture the gas tanks here, and we actually have gas tank sender wire harness that we actually supply to Visteon here. We also supply Lear. Lear builds the headliners for the vehicles, or the things above your head where the vents are, the DVDs or the fabric and above your head. There's a wire harness where the dome lights are. We supply that harness for them. We also supply Brose. They are a German-based company that does the doors, the power windows and power door locks. We supply harnesses to them to make that door assembly. Those are all the customers in the warehouse or in the environment here we ship to. We also ship to Lear in the Hammond, Indiana area, which is about 20 minutes from here, that builds the seats for the vehicle. They supply the harnesses to the seats, and those go into Ford directly from there. We also supply Cleveland Engine. Cleveland Engine makes the engines for the vehicles. We supply those harnesses to Cleveland Engine, which then ships the whole engine components to Ford for assembling the vehicle. We do just-in-time sequencing to Ford in terms of we ship products to Ford based on how they want to run the vehicles on the line. We ship parts to Visteon, how they're going to run the vehicles, their parts in the line. And we have 2 days inventory here. And with that, our supply chain is much shorter, our response time is much faster, and we have the benefit of more customer interface. We have a whole side of the building that's basically dedicated to the Visteon supply chain and the Ford supply chain. What I mean by that, we have 3 sequencing cells that basically meet the Visteon 2 harness needs and the Ford main harness need in terms of we have a cell that sequences those parts for them. The other half of the building is basically high rack storage, a typical warehouse environment that would have racks, steel racks with locations that you put product to store. We supply other customers with the high rack storage. That's a bulk shipment for our Lear or our Cleveland Engine or other suppliers in the park. Back of the warehouse is a normal warehouse with dock doors that inbound and outbounds come in and out of. And the front office is the support for the systems, the releases, the customer interfaces are all on the front side of the office.
Here, bolster area operators are sequencing harnesses. The operator begins the process by scanning the blend label. He goes over to the box and scans the handling unit number. He pulls the part out of the box and brings it back to the work cart and scans the part number. After scanning the part number, he adheres the blend label to the harness. Then he sequences it into the cell, and he scans the cart's cell number to ensure the proper position. When he finishes with the cart, he sends it to Visteon on the AGC cart, where the harnesses are applied to the back of the radiators. The SY warehouse hums around the clock with 3 shifts, and the automatic guided carts keep whistling while they work.
We run a true JIT system. It's just in time. We have pretty much about a day, day and a half of inventory covered, and any hiccups in that float, in that pipeline, can really cause a big disturbance. If there's a reason the customer is down, it's because one of our centers, something went awry. It could be for quality, it could be a part shortage, it could be many reasons why. But because we run so lean that they're dependent on us, a lot of businesses are going to this JIT type of manufacturing and supply. The supply chain is lessened. We're not doing as much carrying costs as far as on-hand product, and how important it is to go back to the basics, know the details, know all the bits that you have to know about each sub-function, about how they interact. I think that's the key thing from here, is that it's not just a warehouse operation. There's other folks involved, such as IT for information sharing, what is out there. Quality is obviously part of it because we touch the product, time duration to do that, and then MP&L to get the material up and out the door in a proper manner. So they all have to work well together. If one goes out, they all go out.
Delivering a wide variety of technical products with such lean inventory increases the potential for problems and costly delays. It requires extensive coordination and skilled managers. The sophisticated electrical components and wiring in these new vehicles are designed for modern conveniences and ease of use. What most drivers don't know is what makes all this possible: equally sophisticated operations management behind the scenes.